So who has the upper hand going into the APEC summit, the United States or Communist China? Joining us now to explore the dynamics of the meeting, we have Dennis Wiedler, Senior Fellow for the Initiative for U.S.-China Dialogue on Global Issues at Georgetown University. Professor Dennis Wiedler, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Professor, CCP leader Xi Jinping fine-tuning the country's propaganda organs to sound more friendly to the United States heading into this meeting with President Biden. The Chinese economy heading in the wrong direction by all accounts, reports of internal struggles inside of Zhongnanhai. Does the United States have to be cautious with dealing with a desperate China? And how does the CCP go about leveraging international summits like this to further its geopolitical and strategic goals?
Well, in some ways, the headwinds that Xi Jinping is dealing with give us some advantages. He doesn't feel as confident. He shouldn't feel as confident. We don't know what happened to his foreign minister. We don't know what happened to his defense minister. We don't even know what happened to the leadership of his nuclear forces. So this man is a fragile leader at this point, a fragile superpower. Of course, he will come in and try and hide those vulnerabilities. He'll try and use the usual Chinese tactics, pretending that the relationship is healing at a point when we know it really isn't healing. He will want, with the international business community that he will see this evening, to really woo them. And of course, they will come eager for contracts with China. But I think we can say that this will be a more realistic meeting than most, because it's obvious that the Chinese have vulnerabilities right now.
What are the potential risks, say, for other nations participating in these summits with China, considering the CCP's underlying objectives?
Well, with the Chinese, you always have to look out for the fact that they aren't going to come up straight. For example, with the Philippines, they act as if they haven't militarized the islands of the South China Sea when they obviously have. You always have to watch out when you're dealing with the Chinese Communist Party because it is non-transparent. They don't even publish figures on unemployment anymore in China in the way they used to, because they're embarrassed by those figures. So, there is a need to verify everything that the Chinese tell you, and you can't really take things at face value. So we have to be vigilant. The Biden administration, I think, has done the right thing by trying to restrict technologies that might go to the Chinese military. But now we have to follow through and verify and keep an eye on it. Similarly with our allies like Japan and South Korea, the Netherlands, the British, we need them all to do the same thing. Keep an eye on your corporations. We've been taken too many times in the past. Too much American technology has ended up in the hands of the Chinese military for fighter aircraft and other advanced systems. We need to stop that. It is really insane for us to be helping the Chinese build a modern military.
And to the Biden administration's credit, oftentimes over the past decades, whenever a world leader, a U.S. president meets with China, human rights often takes a back seat. Reports coming out right now, White House is saying that this human rights will be on the table. How important is that when meeting the leader of China?
It's extremely important. I worked for George W. Bush. Whenever George W. Bush went to Beijing and had meetings, he always insisted on going to church. And I would have to find a church for him to attend with real Chinese people in it to make the point to the Chinese that we cared. And it does make a difference. The Chinese are then put on record. Similarly, Biden needs to make a point on Uyghurs, particularly in West China, on the Christian church in China, on journalists. There are a lot of categories where the Chinese human rights record right now is bad and getting worse. And we need to lay down markers.
Professor Dennis Wiedler, thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure being with you.